everybody, welcome back to another episode of Beauty and the Beard Bedtime Stories. I'm the Beard.
And the Beauty. I just had two more left.
You got two more left?
I only have two more left.
Alright. She likes tracing the letters every time.
Okay, I just needed to do that one and that one, but now
Sounds good. Alright, we got a treat for you tonight. This is an older book. It's a classic Walt Disney. It's Peter Pan, and we're excited about it. We found this at a...
Hey, Daddy, can I start something?
Yeah.
Let's first open the book.
Open the book.
Okay. This is a map.
It's got a map?
Yeah.
Wait a second. Yep, you're right. That's a map.
Mm-hmm.
Was that a map of Neverland?
Yeah.
I like it. Neverland's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
You know what I like about this book?
Yeah.
Since we got this at an old bookstore, it's
No,
used.
it's not a store.
Well, I know, but it's a used book, though. Look, it's got something written in it. So it's got like it was a gift to somebody. Look, it says to Laura K. from Aunt Madge and Uncle Robert. Christmas in 1972.
Oh.
Wow,
It
a
was
long
from
time ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is an older book.
It is an older book. That was before. That was even before Daddy was born. Cause
That's
Dad's
older than Papa Bane.
older than Papaw Bane. No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Papaw Bane's like super old.
It is too.
I mean, no, he's regular old. He's not super.
That's super old.
Super old.
Cause his cheeks are rusty.
His cheeks are rusty. That's just. I mean, it's not rusty. It's just like red cheeks, man.
Oh, it's dark cheeks. The cheeks are just smudged with dirt.
Yeah. All right. So Peter Pan from the motion picture Peter Pan.
This is a cool map.
Hey, we gotta get to reading. We can't just keep talking. We're gonna lose interest. All right. Ooh, here we go. Look at man, the old. It's just like the old movie. I love it. All right. In a quiet street in London lived the Darling family. They were Father and Mother Darling, and Wendy and Michael and John. And there was also a children's nursemaid, Nana, a Saint Bernard dog. For Nana and the children, the best hour of the day was bedtime. For then they were together in the nursery. There, Wendy told wonderful stories about Peter Pan and Neverland. This Neverland was a magical spot with Indians and mermaids and fairies and wicked pirates too. And John and Michael liked best of all to play pirate. They had some fine slashing duels between Peter Pan and his arch enemy, the pirate Captain Hook. Awesome. It's so old school. We love it. Even smells like it's got old book smell. I know that doesn't translate to the video, but it's pretty awesome. You want to smell it? It smells like an old book.
Yeah.
You smell it?
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Your dad's a nerd. I'm sorry.
It smells like people that's stupid.
We don't say that word. Come on, man.
Miss Deeds always say that word.
Miss Deeds tells you not to say that word. We shouldn't say it.
But he always plays mean to Miss Deeds.
Who?
Waylon!
Where did you... How about we focus on the book? Let's do that. Alright. Father Darling did not like this kind of play. He blamed it on Wendy's stories of Peter Pan, and Father Darling did not approve of those stories either. It's time for Wendy to grow up, he decided. This is your last night in the nursery, Wendy girl. All the children were much upset about that. Without Wendy in the nursery, there would be no more stories of Peter Pan. And then to make matters worse, Father Darling became annoyed with Nana and decided the children were too old to be treated like puppies. So he tied Nana in the garden for the night. Man. When Mother and Father Darling had gone, I can't read tonight. When Mother and Father Darling had gone out for the evening, leaving the children snug in their beds with Nana on guard below, who should come to the nursery but Peter Pan? It seemed that he had been flying in from Neverland to listen to the bedtime stories, all unseen. Only Nana had caught sight of him once. He nipped off his shadow and he escaped. But back he came looking for his lost shadow and hoping for a story about himself. With him was a fairy named Tinkerbell. When Peter had heard Wendy was to be moved from the nursery, he hit upon a plan. I'll take you to Neverland with me and tell stories of my lost boys, he decided as Wendy sewed his shadow back on. There we go. Peter Pan coming coming in. Wendy thought it was a lovely idea. If Michael and John could go too. So Peter Pan taught them all to fly with happy thoughts, faith and trust, and a sprinkling of Tinker Bell's pixie dust. Then out the nursery window they sailed, headed for Neverland, while Nana barked frantically below. Back in Neverland on the pirate ship, Captain Hook was unusually grumpy about Peter Pan. You see, once in a fair fight long ago, Peter cut off one of the pirate captain's hands, and so he had to wear a hook instead. And then Peter threw that hand to the crocodile, who enjoyed a taste of Mr. Hook so much that he had been lurking around ever since, hoping to nibble at the rest of him. Fortunately, the pirate and crocodile had also swallowed a clock. It went tick-tock, tick-tock when he came near, which gave a warning to Captain Hook. That's pretty cool.
It's not good because Peter Pan cut his foot.
Yeah, Peter Pan cut his hand off and threw it to the crocodile, so now he's got a hook hand, and the crocodile swallowed a clock too. But now every time it comes around, it's tick-tock, tick-tock. So Captain Hook knows when the crocodile's nearby. Isn't that weird?
Why does it say tick-tock?
That's what the sound a clock makes.
Oh.
Now, as Captain Hook grumbled about his young enemy, there was a call from the crow's nest. "Peter Pan, ahoy!" "What? Where?" shouted Hook, twirling his spyglass around the sky, and then he spied Peter and the children pausing for a rest on a cloud. "Swoggles me eyes, it is Pan!" Hook gloated. "Pipe the crew, man the guns, we'll get him this last time." "Oh, Peter, it's just as if I've dreamed it would be, Mermaid Lagoon and all," Wendy was saying when the first of the pirates' cannonballs ripped through the cloud close beside their feet and went sizzling on past. "Look out!" cried Pan. "Tinker Bell, take Wendy and the boys to the island, and I'll stay here and draw Hook's fire." Wow. So they see him up in the clouds, and Hook is already firing cannonballs at him. That's nuts, man.
Yeah.
I don't like that Captain Hook, do you?
No.
He sounds mean.
I only like Wendy.
You only like Wendy?
Yeah.
Okay. Away flew Tinker Bell as fast as she could go in her naughty little heart. She hoped that the children would fall behind and be lost. Especially she was jealous of Wendy Girl, who seemed to have won Peter Pan's heart. Straight through the Neverland jungle, Tink flew down a clearing beside an old dead tree called Hangman's Tree. She landed on a toadstool and bounced onto a shiny leaf, and pop! A secret door opened for her in the knot of the hollow tree. Zip! Down the slippery tunnel Tink slid. She landed at the bottom of an underground room, the secret house of Peter Pan. Ding-a-ling! She tinkled, fitting in about one corner of the room to the next. She was trying to awaken the sleeping Lost Boys who lay so many curled up balls of fur. At last, rather grumpily, they woke up and stretched in their little fur suits, and they listened to Tinker Bell. "What? Pan wants us to shoot down the terrible Wendy bird? Lead us to it," they shouted, and they all hurried up. So she finds her way down to Pan's house in the tree, and she gathers up the Lost Boys, and she's telling the Lost Boys that they're supposed to shoot down Wendy bird. Is that what's supposed to happen?
No.
No. Tinkerbell's jealous, right?
Yeah, she's jealous of Wendy.
Yeah, she is. When Wendy and Michael and John appeared, flying wearily, the Lost Boys tried to pelt them with stones and sticks, especially the Wendy bird. Down tumbled Wendy, all her happy thoughts destroyed, for without them no one could fly. "Hooray! We got the Wendy bird!" the Lost Boys shouted. But then Peter Pan arrived. Ooh, how angry he was when he discovered that the boys had tried to shoot down Wendy even though he had caught her before she could be hurt. "I brought her to be a mother to us all and to tell us stories," he said. "Come on, Wendy," said Peter. "I'll show you the mermaids. Boys, take Michael and John to hunt some Indians." So Peter and Wendy flew away, and the boys marched off through the forest planning to capture some Indians. And there were wild animals all around, but the boys never thought to be afraid, and not a creature harmed them through the woods as they went. "First we'll surround the Indians," John decided. Then we'll take them by surprise. John's plan worked splendidly, but it was the Indians who used it. Disguised as moving trees, they quietly surrounded the boys and took them by surprise. Wow, they're going after the Indians, and the Indians pulled the old switcheroo on them. You believe that? Crazy. There's some smart youngins there. Or some not so smart youngins and some smart Indians. Soon, bound with ropes, and rows of boys marched away, led by the Indians to the village in the cliff. Don't worry, the Indians are our friends, the lost boy said, but the chief looked on sternly. Meanwhile, on the other side of the island, Wendy and Peter were visiting the mermaids in their peaceful mermaid lagoon. And as they were chatting, Peter suddenly said, "Hush!" A boat from the pirate ship was going by. In it was the wicked Captain Hook and Smee, the pirate cook. And at the stern, all bound with ropes, sat Princess Tiger Lily, daughter of the Indian chief. "We'll make her talk," sneered Captain Hook. "She'll tell us where Peter Pan lives, or we'll leave her tied to the slippery skull rock where the tide will wash over her." But proud and loyal, Tiger Lily would not say a single word. That's cool. That's a good friend that stays loyal and doesn't say anything, huh? Peter and Wendy flew to Skull Rock. Peter, by imitating Hook's voice, tried to trick Smee into setting Tiger Lily free. It almost worked, but Hook discovered the trick and he came after Peter with his sword. Then what a thrilling duel they had, all over the rocky cave where Princess Tiger Lily sat, with the tide up to her chin. Peter won the duel and rescued Tiger Lily just in the nick of time. Then away he flew to the Indian village to see the princess safely home, and Wendy came on behind. When Peter and Wendy brought Tiger Lily home, the chief set the captives all free. Then what a wonderful feast they had. All the boys did Indian dances and learned wild Indian chants, and Peter was made a chief. Only Wendy had no fun at all, for she had to help the squaws carry the firewood. "I've had enough of Neverland," she thought grumpily. "I'm ready to go home now." There's Peter Pan and Hook fighting, and then they're having Wendy do all this stuff, and she's not really having it. While the Indian celebration was at its height, Smee, the pirate, crept up through the underbrush and captured Tinkerbell. Trapped in his cap, she struggled and kicked, but Smee took her back to the pirate ship and presented her to Captain Hook. I lost it. Oh. "Ah, Miss Belle," said Hook sympathetically. "I've heard how badly Peter Pan has treated you since that scheming girl Wendy came. How nice it would be if we could kidnap her and take her off to sea and scrub the decks and cook for the pirate crew." Tink tinkled happily at the thought. "But alas," sighed Hook, "we don't know where Peter Pan's house is, so we cannot get rid of Wendy for you." Tink thought this over. "You won't hurt Peter?" she asked in a solemn, tinkling tone. "Of course not," promised Hook. Then she marched to a map of Neverland and traced a path to Peter's hidden house. "Thank you, my dear," said wicked Captain Hook, and he locked her up in a lantern cage and he went off to capture Peter Pan. Oh, wow. Mr. Hook, he is not very kind. What?
Tricking her.
He's tricking Tinkerbell. I know. Sheesh. Can you imagine just tricking a little tiny blonde girl?
He's just so stupid.
Well, okay, you're not supposed to say that word, right?
And
he's just mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just jealous of him.
Yep.
Okay.
You're jealous of him?
Yeah.
Why? You don't want to be mean, do you?
Daddy.
Yes, ma'am. What?
I think you skipped a page.
I didn't skip a page. Return them. Right. That night when Wendy tucked the children into their beds in the underground house, she talked to them about home and mother. Soon they were all homesick that they wanted to leave at once for home. Wendy invited all the Lost Boys to come and live with the Darling family. Only Peter refused to go. He simply looked the other way as Wendy and the boys told him goodbye and climbed the tunnel to Hangman's Tree. Up in the woods near Hangman's Tree waited Hook and his pirate band. As each boy came out, a hand was clasped over his mouth, and he was quickly tied up with the ropes. Last of all came Wendy. Zip, zip! She was bound too, and the crew marched off with her and the load of children back to the pirate ship. "Blast it!" he muttered. "We still don't have Pan." So, he and Smee left a wicked bomb wrapped as a gift. Back up, baby. Back up, baby.
I just said like this.
Okay. He wrapped up, it looked like a gift from Wendy, for poor Peter Pan to find. Very soon, they hoped, Peter would open it and blow himself straight out of Neverland. That's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good at all. I'm getting a little nervous. What about you? Fine.
Can I not?
Fine. Well, aren't you just a little Miss Cool? Imagine how terrible Tinkerbell felt when she saw all the children prisoners and that she knew it was her fault. The boys were given the terrible choice between turning pirates or walking the plank. To the boys, the life of a pirate sounded fine. Sad to say, they were all ready to join up, but Wendy was shocked at that. Never, she cried. Very well, said Hook. Then you shall be the first to walk the plank, my dear. Everyone felt so terrible, though Wendy was ever so brave. No one noticed when Tinkerbell escaped and flew off to warn Peter Pan. What a dreadful moment when Wendy said goodbye and bravely walked out onto that long, narrow plank. And then she disappeared. Everyone listened, breathless, waiting for a splash, but not a sign of one came. What could that silence mean? Then they heard a familiar happy crow. It was Pan, and he was in the rigging high above. Warned by Tinkerbell, he had just escaped in time to scoop up Wendy in midair and then fly with her to safety. Wow, she walked a plank and she jumped off and Peter Pan was able to get there and grab her. Whew. Tell you what, man, I was getting nervous. You? Yeah, you started getting nervous. This time you've gone too far, Hook, Peter cried. He swooped down from the rigging and all set for a duel. And what a duel it was. While they fought, Tinkerbell slashed the ropes that bound the boys, and then they beat the pirates into jumping overboard and rowing away in their boat. And then Peter knocked Hook's sword overboard, and Hook jumped too. And when the children last saw the wicked Captain Hook, he was swimming for the boat, and the crocodile tick-tocking hungry behind him. Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. Peter Pan took command of the pirate ship. Heave the halyards! Up with the jib! We're sailing to London, he cried. Oh, Michael, John, cried Wendy, we're going home. And sure enough, with the happy thoughts and faith and trust and liberal sprinkling of pixie dust, away flew the pirate ship through the skies till the gangplank was run out of the Darlings' nursery windowsill. But now they had arrived. The Lost Boys did not want to stay. We sort of decided to stick with Pan, they said. All right, so they're leaving. The ship flies away. Headed back to London. All right, here we go. So they're there, and they drop Wendy and John and Michael off at their house. Wendy, John, and Michael waved goodbye as Peter Pan's ship sailed off through the sky, taking the Lost Boys home to Neverland, where they still live today. There we go. That's the end of it. All right. Not bad for a Christmas gift from 1972, huh? You like this one?
Yeah.
Yeah? You like it? Have a big hug?
Can we just read the map?
Read the map.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. We'll show them the map so they can see it. It's a title page and it's got the big map on it. But while we're reading the map, we're going to go ahead and say goodnight to everybody, okay?
Good night.
So tell them goodnight.
Good
Thanks
night.
for reading with us.
Good night. Thanks for reading.